This is the fourth video in a series of videos about mystery angles. In this video, we are going to focus on the angles inside a triangle. So the trick we need to know about triangles is that if we measure each of the inside angles and add them up, it's 10, 4, 13, 18. If we add them up, we will always get 180 degrees. It doesn't matter the size of triangle or the type of triangle, all of the inside angles together will always add up to exactly 180 degrees. And we can use that fact as a clue to help us solve mystery angle problems. For example, in this first triangle, we see we have a mystery angle at this point here. So we're going to take the fact that we know that all three of them together need to add up to 180 degrees. So start with the total. Then we need to take away the part that we know. Now here we know two of the angles. We need to add these together to come up with the total of what we know. Okay. I can use my calculator to help me if that's a faster strategy. A lot of the time it is. 143. Okay. So that's what I know about the inside of my angle. So I'm going to subtract that from what I don't know. From the total, and that will give me what I don't know. So again, use the calculator to save time, 37 degrees. And so I can say that angle X is worth 37 degrees. Okay, let's try another one together. So in this triangle, I can see that this larger angle, the obtuse angle at the bottom, is my mystery angle. Same steps again. So I start with my total, which I know needs to be 180 degrees. And then I'm going to subtract what I know. In this case, there's two angles, 25 degrees and 20 degrees that I know. So I'm going to add those together to come up with the total of what I know. I can use my calculator if I need to. Then I'm going to subtract that total from of what I know from the total of the three angles, what they should add up to. Okay, I can use my calculator if it saves me some time. 135 degrees. And I might say to myself, that sounds like a really big angle. But when I look at angle Y, I can see that it's significantly bigger than 90 degrees. It's an obtuse angle, so it makes sense for it to be about 135 degrees. So I can say that Y equals 135 degrees. Okay, let's have you try a couple of these on your own. The first question I want you to try on your own is missing angle T. So you don't have to copy down the triangle, just take the information that you need. Once you've solved it, once you've written in your scribbler what you think T is worth, then you can hit play again to see my solution. Okay, hopefully you've solved for letter T. Let's have a look at it together. So again, we know that all three angles together should add up to 180 degrees. So that's my total. I'm going to take away the part that I know. In this case, it's 53 degrees and 55 degrees. So I'm going to add those together. I can use my calculator if it helps me. So together they add up to 108 degrees. I'm going to subtract that from my total of 180. And use that calculator if it's going to save you time. It's going to give me 72. So that tells me that angle T is 72 degrees. So if I added these all up together, I'd get 180 degrees. And I could do that to double check if I wasn't sure. Let's have a look at another one here. Okay, the next one I want you to solve is solving for angle U. There's another clue you're going to have to use, but I'll bet you can figure it out. Once you have your answer, you can press play again and see my solution. Okay, hopefully you found the answer. Let's have a look at it together. We know that all three angles in a triangle need to add up to 180 degrees. So I'm starting with that total. I'm going to subtract what I know. In this case, I don't know the value of U. I know that this angle is 55 degrees. What about this angle here? Hopefully you remembered that if I have a square like this, it means that it's exactly 90 degrees. So I can take the 55 and add the 90. Use a calculator if it's going to save you time. It's 145 degrees. So these two angles together are 145 degrees. I'm going to subtract that from my total. And that's going to give me 35 degrees. So I can say that angle U is equal to 35 degrees. Let's have you try another one. Okay, in this problem, you'll notice that there's 2 letter variables, but they're using the same letter variables. Let's see if you can figure that out. When you're done solving your answer, you can press play and watch my solution. Okay, hopefully you solved the problem. Again, we're going to start with that total. So we know all 3 angles need to add up to 180 degrees. I'm going to subtract to what I know. Now in this case, I only know one of the angles. The other ones aren't labeled, so I can take away the 54 degrees. Again, use that calculator if it's going to save you time. 126. Now what that tells me is that both of these V angles together add up to 126. Now it's my job to figure out how much each of these angles gets. The trick I need to use is knowing that because they have the same letter variable, they're worth the same amount. So instead of saying, oh, maybe this angle gets 100 degrees and this one only gets 26, I know that I have to share this 126 degrees equally. And I use division for that. So 126 divided by 2, and again, get that calculator to help you. Divided by 2 equals 63. So I know that each of these V angles is worth 63 degrees. And if I wasn't sure, I could type it back into my calculator. 63 plus 63 plus 54, and it would give me the 180 degrees. Okay, last question. Let's see what you do with this one. When you're finished solving the problem, press play to watch my solution. All right, hopefully you were able to solve the problem. This one was a little trickier because I didn't give you any numerical values, but it uses the same trick as the last question. All 3 of the angles are labeled with the same variable, so they're worth the same amount. So I know that altogether they have to add up to 180 degrees. But how am I going to share that 180 degrees amongst 3 separate angles? I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide by 3. That's how we share equally. I can use my calculator to help me if I need to, if it saves me some time. And the answer is 60. So I know that each of these W's is worth 60 degrees. And if I typed it back into my calculator, 60